What's up, guys? This is Storm, and welcome to episode 50 of Storm Gaming News Week. There's a couple of news to go over, but before we get to the new brand news, we're gonna go over the news that I missed from last week. So, without further ado, let's get on with the news. According to a article by GameBeats, somebody from AMD have confirmed that next-gen Xbox is on track to launch in 2027. The comment reads, development of Microsoft next-gen Xbox featuring an AMD semi-custom SoC is progressing well to support a launch in 2027. So, this pretty much confirmed the next Xbox is releasing sometime next year. And of course, some people was wondering how come PlayStation, the PS6 wasn't said along with the statement with AMD. It's more than likely Sony wants to announce the PS6 themselves. And also with the whole pricing of parts for these consoles, basically any electronic in general is going up. I think Sony will most likely delay the launch of the PS6 just because also they want to fully get out of use of the PS5. Cause it is more than likely when the PS6 drops, games will be a cross-gen between the PS5 and 6. But of course, a lot of people will say that they don't want the PS6 right now because they feel like they didn't get all the power out of the PS5, which I tend to agree also because yeah, could we get games like at a more stable frame rate? So like yeah, right now there are games that look in crazy amazing and stuff, and more than likely the PS6 would just boost the frame rate even higher. But in my opinion, I think the PS5 is good as it is right now until Sony gets every last drop out of it, which I'm in no rush to get a PS6. I'll still enjoy my games on the PS5 until most likely until I see like games not really being supported for the PS5 anymore when it comes to Sony first party. Then most likely I switch, or you never know what could be a reason for me to switch to the PS6. We just gotta wait and see. And apparently the Epic Game Store is gonna be on the next gen Xbox because they put out a statement saying that they will. So if you're on the next gen Xbox, you could access the Epic Game Store page through the console. I really don't know what would be the point of it, but hey, it kind of feeds into the rumor that Steam also is going to be on there also, so we'll just have to wait and see how that turns out in the end. Nintendo has reported that Nintendo Switch has officially sold 155.37 million units, thus making it the number one best-selling Nintendo console, overtaking the Nintendo DS, which sold around 154.2 million, and also making it the best-selling console behind the PS2, that is at 160 million. So the Switch is currently a little under 5 million from beating the PS2 being the number one console in the world, basically, which is incredible feat right now. I'm kind of curious who's still buying the Switch 1 when the Switch 2 is out, but could be money wise because nobody don't want to spend no $450 and stuff. So kudos to Nintendo for hitting that milestone. Obsidian Entertainment had a sit-down interview with Bloomberg discussing over their performance of their games releases and their overall future plans going forward. This from Okami13. These are the bullet points from the interview. It said, Grounded 2 was a big hit. Avowed and The Outer World 2 failed to meet sales expectations. Both were in development for 6+ years. Josh Sawyer, it's not good to release 3 games in the same year. It's the result of things going wrong. Spacing those releases helped the company manage its resources and not burn everybody out. Obsidian currently has around 280 employees. Currently no plans for a third Outer World game, but they want to keep making games in the Avowed and the Players of Eternity universe. Avowed was originally pitched as a multiplayer game, but the idea was scrapped 2 years in. A crossover between Skyrim and Destiny. I'm kind of curious how would that look. Microsoft has enacted a 30% profit target for many Xbox studios, which has led them to putting games on PlayStation. Obsidian plans for the next few years is to continue work on new projects, both big and small, in addition to new content for the Grounded 2 and the Outer World 2. Alright. So we basically got the confirmation. Grounded 2 did amazingly well for them, but Outer World 2 and Avowed unfortunately did not meet their sales expectations. I don't think we got any updated sales on them as of yet, so I'm currently don't know the numbers for them. So it is kind of a shame those games didn't make the sales expectation, especially they've been in development for 6 years. I don't believe Grounded 2 is fully out yet. I believe it's in early access still, so that could be one of the reasons. But I heard people say they truly like Grounded and stuff, and I have seen some people said the reason why Outer Worlds 3 probably not gonna happen now because due to the poor sales of Outer Worlds 2, which could be a possibility of that being the case, because if a game fails, a sequel to that game is not guaranteed. So when people say like game sales do not matter, in this situation it does matter. It's no different from the same thing when we found out like a couple years back that like employee bonuses are tied to the Metacritic score for games. I forgot which studio it was, but it was something that would say like if this game hits like a 90 plus, like a 90 or above on Metacritic, the developers will get a bonus. I think that was probably with the development of Fallout. Yeah, I think it was probably in Bethesda we heard that news. But yeah, so it is kind of crazy. I am kind of curious how would that crossover between Skyrim and Destiny will look like, to be honest. And they said they're going to keep making projects big and small to basically get both type of audience. Basically to please both audience, the ones who like big AAA games and the ones who like the little indie type of games that they could just relax and play without not going in too hard, which is always nice. We'll see what the future plans for Obsidian. They're most likely going to drop a DLC for Outer Worlds 2 and Grounded and stuff. So we'll see what happens. During last week, through the physical report from PlayStation, they said that PlayStation reduces the expectation for Bungie as the risk of games as a service becomes more visible. Sony reduces expectations for Bungie after revaluing the cost of Destiny 2 and related projects. So basically, the amount of money that Sony was putting into Bungie, they are reducing it now, because Sony has openly admitted that when they bought Bungie, they basically jumped at the gun, basically with the whole push of live service. And Bungie, who are veterans at this, like they kind of expect them to be knocking this stuff out of the park and stuff. But of course, Bungie showed that it's not the case. So Sony basically said, we're going to take back the money that we were putting into you, put it into our other studios that we know that have done incredible work over the years. And if you want the money back that you was getting, you now have to prove yourself. They're no longer going off Bungie by their name. So that is good for Sony, but also bad for Bungie and stuff. I'm kind of curious, would the situation be different if Bungie and Sony didn't have that deal that Sony was gonna buy Bungie, but Bungie would stay independent. So I am kind of curious what would happen if Sony would have flat out bought Bungie without that criteria that Bungie asked for, and Sony was able to control Bungie from the start instead of them remain independent, because Bungie has shown themselves they can't manage while somebody watching over them. Yeah, you could say that with Activision and stuff, it wasn't the best when it came to Destiny and stuff. But the thing is, like, if we look at how Destiny was when they was with Activision, then after when they left Activision and stuff, you could clearly see the content is vastly different. Yeah, you could say that Activision will probably push in the microtransactions and stuff like that, and we can all agree with that. But the thing is, Bungie don't know how to manage themselves, because this whole large gap in between when releasing content and stuff is really bad. Like, shoot, people, Destiny 1, when it comes to like these expansion and content and stuff, they were better in Destiny 1 than Destiny 2. Like Wrath of Machine, The Taken King, Crota N, all that fun DLCs and stuff. And we had like the Sparrow Racing, Iron Banner gave us better rewards and not recycling old armor pieces and stuff. Like, in my opinion, Destiny 1 was overall better game and stuff. But I digress. So we'll see what Bungie's gonna do. They got their game Marathon that's coming out next month and stuff. So we'll see how that perform. For what I could tell, like they are trying to get this game looking in a better light. They did like a complete overhaul, what I heard some people say. Even people who got to play like a beta version who got hands-on experience with it in China, they said it was like a big overall improvement what was shown off last time. So that's good. I don't know if the wide audience like in America will take kindly into it, but we gotta wait and see. Hopefully it does good. It's a $40 looter extraction shooter, basically like not Arknight. What that game Ark that's going on right now and stuff. So we'll see what happens. I just saw some people complain like this game should be $40, but I'm like, that game was $40 and they said they was inspired by the price point for Helldivers 2 to release that game at $40. People are acting like this game is a full-fledged $70. If it was $70, then I could understand, but it's $40 and you guys bought a game for $40. I think some gamers just want stuff for free, and Don't make no type of sense. They complain about a price. The price is lower than what the regular price is right now, and yet people still find a way to complain. It's always a head scratcher for me, honestly. Apparently, it was being reported that Assassin's Creed Shadows was supposed to get a co-op expansion, but it's now being reported that it is canceled and is transferred to another project. Assassin's Creed Shadows co-op expansion was going to be called League. That was going to come to the game. But apparently, some type of internal stuff went on. It is now officially canceled, but it's being used in a different project. This is what was said. Initially planned as a Shadows DLC, 4-player co-op mission deemed too time consuming, consider incorporating into another Assassin's Creed. Also considered scaling to standalone. Ubisoft and C chose the latter. Team of 10 devs to become a small standalone co-op. Test alpha will begin in May of 2026 and will transfer the tech advancement to engine. Okay, so it was supposed to be a Shadow DLC, but due to time consuming and some other stuff that went on behind the scenes, by the sound of it, it's going to be a standalone thing now. Playtesting will begin in May, and I guess the engine that they're used for it will be transferring to the advancement that they made with the engine will transfer to the official Assassin's Creed engine that they're using right now. So, what it sounds like, it was gonna be, it sounds like it's gonna be something like how Unity, but we don't know. We don't know to the full extent that Unity co-op was fine and stuff. It just at some point there was nothing really much to do, and the game got buggy at some point. So I honestly don't know how I feel. I am kind of curious, how would a Assassin's Creed Shadows DLC work, to be honest. I guess maybe like how I honestly don't know how would that. I'm really curious how would that look, to be honest. Especially how Assassin's Creed Shadow is like, you got more forest than buildings and stuff. So maybe it was a good call to cancel it and stuff, since a lot of people don't really like Shadows like that, to be honest. And like they got joked on for the whole collaboration with Attack on Titan, especially how the Titans were looking and stuff. Like that whole crossover thing didn't make no sense to me whatsoever, but they did it because maybe during, like, probably because the anime series was ending, but I'm not 100% sure. Like, it is what it is. We'll see how it turns out in May. We'll probably get our look of it in May for the play testing. Alright, this one is a little bit interesting. There was a Insomniac tweet promoting Marvel Wolverine that said along the line clause was as some type of lawyer lingo, and that had everybody going in a frenzy thinking that Insomniac was possibly teasing Daredevil to make an appearance in the game Marvel Wolverine. Okay, you may not know, this was during the whole leak thing. A certain enemy group was supposedly going to be in Marvel Wolverine. We don't know if that's still going to be the case, but this enemy group have ties to Daredevil. And if you play Marvel Spider-Man 2, there is a building that you can enter that has weird symbols in the back room that people believe that have some reference to the Hand. And also in Marvel Spider-Man 2, you can actually find Matt Murdock lawyer office with Froggy Nelson. It's the same thing in Marvel Spider-Man 1, and you can also find it in Marvel Spider-Man 2. And because of that tweet, people thought Daredevil could make an appearance in the game. But Aaron, who works at Insomniac, came out and said, nope, it's just a pun for the sake of a pun. He even go further in saying he wasn't even thinking of that when he wrote that pun. So it's safe to say Daredevil probably won't be a Marvel Wolverine because honestly, it doesn't really make much sense judging the location that Wolverine is will be at. Like we got Madripoor, the Canadian Outback, and Tokyo, Japan, basically. So I don't see what will be the reason Matt Murdock to make an appearance there, unless they could try to incorporate it into the story while he's there. But other than that, we have no indication that Daredevil will make an appearance. But we also have some other information about Marvel Wolverine. Apparently, on the PlayStation Store in Mexico, it was showed in the description that Marvel Wolverine was gonna release sometime in the third quarter of 2026. So the third quarter is between July and going into September. So people are trying to figure out where would Marvel Wolverine fall into. It definitely cannot be July because they already said fall. So some people thinking it's probably going to release in mid to late September because it will be like releasing this like how Marvel Spider-Man did, because that game released in September. So with that being said, we potentially could have Marvel Wolverine releasing in that time frame, most likely in September, because I believe the only game that's coming out is September as of right now that I actually have a release date is Phantom Blade Zero, and that comes out in early September 9th, which would make sense if Wolverine come out late October, because then it will have like the end and the beginning of the next month to itself, because then GTA coming out in November, we don't know when Fable coming out, and there was another game that said that was coming out in the fall. I think it was Turok Origins. I believe that's another game. But of course we had to wait and see if it does turn out to be true. And of course, some people was hoping that Marvel Wolverine will make an appearance at State of Play. Somebody who asked Insomnia when we'll get like new information for Marvel Wolverine. They had specifically said spring of 2026. So this made a lot of people assume do not expect Wolverine at State of Play. By the time of this recording will be at today at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, which I will post a reaction to it later that day. Unfortunately, I will be at work, so I will not be able to catch it live. But I will watch it once I'm home, and I'll do a complete reaction for it. But other than that, people assume they're not going to be at the State of Play. But here's the thing. We probably won't get no new information at this State of Play on Wolverine. But that does not mean we will not get a teaser of when the focused State of Play for Marvel Wolverine at this State of Play. It'll be the same thing what they did with Ghost of Yotai. They showed us a little bit of a clip of Ghost of Yotai. Then at the end of the clip, they said Tune in, insert this date here to see the focus state of play for Ghost of Yotai. Me personally, that's what I believe is going to happen. They're going to give us a small little snippet of Marvel Wolverine, most likely updated version of the graphics. Then at the end they say, hey, tune in, let's say in May. Come watch the focus state of play for Marvel Wolverine to show off like the world, different time mechanic, how his healing factor is gonna work, what kind of enemies we could be running into. Because so far we only got the Ravagers and Sentinel. We don't know if there's any other enemy group and stuff. Like I said, stuff could change after the whole leak situation, but we just gotta wait and see. Or maybe we could get a boss fight showing Omega Red. Or maybe the fan character favorite of Sabretooth. All those things could be possibly shown off at this focus state of play whenever Insomniac ready to show it off. I'm just saying. Jason Schreier, who works at Bloomberg, has said that he believes that Horizon 3 is still a long ways away, and also he said that he believes that the team is currently working on Horizon Hunter Gathering. So that would mean that until Hunter Gatherings come out, the team will now go in full development on Horizon 3. And honestly, like, if that's what it is, then I have no problem with it. Like, Horizon 3 is not really on my mind. I believe I spoke about this before people were complaining about it. Like, there's a lot of stuff they have to go into Horizon 3, writing out the story, get some new actors, because their main antagonist for one of the antagonists for the Horizon series, he passed away. So they would need to either find somebody else to do his voice, or replace the whole entire character in general and just make a new character that took that spot and get a new actor. So that's a whole lot of stuff they gotta consider and stuff. And it's crazy to me, the people that are complaining about this are the same ones who made claims they don't like the Horizon series. So I don't know why y'all upset that Horizon 3 not coming out anytime soon. Like it is what it is. Like, what, Horizon 2 came out like in 2023, and you expect them to get a part 3 out this early, or at least hear anything about it? Like, I don't know what's the deal is. Like, we heard that this multiplayer of that takes place in the Horizon universe is gonna be a thing for the longest. So anybody to complain otherwise, like, we were already told it. I don't know why you're upset right now. But honestly, that's just me. Like, I don't get how you could be upset for a game in a series that you don't give a damn about. Like, people don't know what they want anymore. We got more added context for the Horizon Hunters Gathering thanks to Okami 13. It is written as, work began around 2018. Guerrilla has stated that the series started with a multiplayer in mind. Team size often scale up as the game enters full production. Pre-production can usually be done with a smaller team while the rest of the studio works on something else. Alright, so basically, this game was in the works since 2018, but it looks like other projects that Guerrilla was doing, most likely Horizon Zero Dawn came out 2 years before that, and the DLC for Horizon Zero Dawn came out in 2017. And it looks like they put Hunter's Gathering on the back burner. because then they shifted to work on Horizon 2 that came out in 2023. It was revealed in 2020. So, what it sounds like that since they're working on this one now, there could be team members that's getting started on Horizon 3. Since they said pre-production could usually be done with a smaller team while the rest work on something else. So, very interesting. Very interesting indeed. It's more than likely this game probably went on the back burner because they were probably waiting for the PS5 that was going to be a stronger hardware. Because, like, if we really think about it, we had to wait till the PS5 to get flying mounts. Because I remember hearing that flying mounts was supposed to be a thing in Zero Dawn, but the PS4 wasn't strong enough to handle it, so they made it for the PS5. But then again, Forbidden West is a cross-gen game, so it's more than likely they did manage to get it work on the PS4. It probably just the game just looked hella downgrade compared to the PS5. So, with that being said, honestly, I'm okay with Hunter's Gathering. I look at want to try it because some people call it like a Monster Hunter. What was the other game? They compare it to Monster Hunter or some other game because of the art style stuff. It's crazy how people not liking this game just because the looks of it and stuff. But these are the same ones who would complain that there's tired of PlayStation realistic games. It's like, once again, it just go back to people don't know what they want. Like, they could make the exact game that they want, and there's always going to be some type of complaint. It is what it is. Like before we even write off this game, at least give it a chance. Like, at least give the game a chance, in my opinion, before I give an opinion on it. Okay, this one is a very interesting, and it kind of hit close for me. Apparently, there is a rumor going around that Kingdom Hearts 1 is going to get a remake, and the person who reported go by Xtast, who people have said is a person who usually reports on Xbox stuff, honestly. And I didn't know this was a thing. Apparently, there's like a tier list for insiders. And he is considered like a tier 3, which means he mostly gets stuff wrong than he does right. Like, he have gotten some stuff right, but majority of the stuff that he reports are wrong. If I would have to guess what that means, that would probably be like a 60-40. Like, either 60-40 or a 70% that he gets stuff wrong. But anyway, it's kind of interesting that he only focuses on Xbox stuff, but then out of nowhere, he posting something about Kingdom Hearts. So anyway, this is what he said. He said Kingdom Hearts, the remake was going to be called Kingdom Hearts Relux. If you don't know what Lux is basically, if you play the mobile game of Kingdom Hearts, Lux was considered light. So, in retrospect, it will be called Kingdom Hearts Relight, which is, in my opinion, a pretty cool name, in my opinion. Playable Riku sections from his point of view. If you haven't played Kingdom Hearts 1, basically, in Kingdom Hearts 1, you and Riku and Kairi get separated when the darkness overtake Destiny Island. While you're playing as Sora, Riku was going through his own adventures, going through different worlds. So in this remake, you will be able to play those segments as Riku. Recycle missing link assets. I don't know what this could mean, honestly. Only people who managed to get a chance to play the missing link beta would know what these assets could potentially be, but those are only in Japan, so unfortunately I don't know. I can't really speak on this one. New song from Utada Hikaru Music. I could believe that she will honestly do a new music for it. Same maps, but expected modern graphics. So basically, all the Disney worlds that we got to see, Traverse Town, Alice in Wonderland, Tarzan, Beast, etc., will still be the same, but expanded. Will be expanded plus modern graphics. So basically, the game will look like Kingdom Hearts 4 on Unreal Engine 4 style. But in this case, I think Square Enix is probably going to do Unreal Engine 5. We don't know yet, but I believe they're still going to be on Unreal Engine 4 unless they will do Unreal Engine 5. So we'll just have to see how that turns out. But anyway, and the example he gave on expanding the worlds, he gave like Halloween Town and Traverse Town. So Traverse Town, there was some areas you could not get access to, but they expanded that world in Dream Drop Distance because you had the whole flow motion thing. And for Halloween Town, I'm guessing the only thing they will be able to expand is you'll be able to go to Christmas Town, because in Kingdom Hearts 1 you couldn't go to Christmas Town. It was only you were only stuck in a Halloween world. He said Jungle Book will be a world in the game, which to some extent it does make sense, since Disney doesn't own rights to Tarzan. If they would remake Kingdom Hearts 1, I doubt they'd be able to use Tarzan. So more than likely they would have to replace that world, and by the looks of it, they might replace it with the Jungle Book, which to some extent could make sense because people in the Kingdom Hearts community have data mined Birth by Sleep, and there is a segment of an unfinished world of the Jungle Book that people who kind of did some workaround on their PSP to actually gain access to it. Like, Jungle Book was gonna be a world, but unfortunately it got scrapped for reasons. It's the same thing like with Dream Drop Distance, when there was theorized that Treasure Planet was gonna be a world in that, and that also got scrapped. I'm kind of upset about that. I still want Atlantis, the Lost Empire, and Treasure Planet to make it into a Kingdom Hearts game at some point. He goes further by saying Kate Sith would make an appearance in the game. You don't know who Kate Sith is like one of the main party members from Final Fantasy VII. So basically you will have Cloud, Sephiroth, and Kate Sith from Final Fantasy VII, and technically Sid and Aerith and Yuffie. So kind of curious how would Kate Sith fit into it, but I digress. He said it was going to release late 2026 to early 2027, which that what I find very hard to believe, because especially it is something nobody never heard about of being a thing. Also, he comes out with this information is going to release late this year or early next year. And he says claiming it was originally going to be a Switch 2 exclusive, but since the whole change with Square Enix wanted to do multi-platform release, it sounds like that no longer the case. That where I find it hard to believe that they will make it a Switch exclusive. A Switch 2 exclusive. That would be crazy if they would have done that. Especially this whole push thing with no more exclusive games and stuff is outrageous. So, with that being said, in my opinion, I don't believe this rumor whatsoever. I don't believe it at all and stuff. The question is, would I like it if it turns out to be true? Yeah, I would. You don't know me. Kingdom Hearts is my favorite franchise. And if they would remake all of them, like literally remake all of them, like 350 over 2, Chain of Memories, Dream Drop Distance, and they all look like how Kingdom Hearts 4 does, and able to keep their gameplay mechanics and such, just the game runs smoother and with a better engine that doesn't look like a PS2 game with HD graphics and stuff. Oh my god, I will buy all of them in an instant. Like, I'm not even like that thing. I would feel that thing will sell. It would definitely sell. I'll be the first one buying it too. I'll gladly replay all of them too. But unfortunately, I just don't believe this rumor. It's too good to be true, and nobody don't think Square Enix would do that. I think currently right now, they're all focused on this Final Fantasy VII Part 3. Until that comes out, we're not going to see nothing when it comes to Kingdom Hearts 4. Or unless they might surprise us with something at the State of Play, which I'm going to talk about now. If you have not heard, PlayStation announced a State of Play that will be happening on February 12th. By the time of this recording, it will be today at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, 2 p.m. Pacific Time. And we have like some hints potentially of games that are going to be making there. Like an actor from the game Detroit Become Human was kind of teases out like something is going to be there. Arc System Works for Marvel Token Fighting Soul have tweeted that they're going to be there, and they announced that the game will have 20 characters at launch, which I don't know why some people threw out a hissy fit about it, but I think 20 at launch is a good number. We're most likely going to also get the release date. It will have a single player episode mode and 64 player lobbies by PSN. A PlayStation Network account is required. So, what else? People think Square Enix is going to make an appearance. We have confirmation that Marathon is also going to be there. This could be focusing on third-party indie games and updates on first-party studio games. So, some people think Intergalactic is going to be there, and maybe some Cory Barlog. I will be making a video on State of Play when it comes out, and with that being said, I'm going to end this video. Look forward to my reaction to the State of Play, and what you guys hoping to see at this State of Play. Let me know in the comments below, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and enjoy your week, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.